Hey, howdy, hey, foolish human beings and aliens, if you're from the future or whatever. Wolfman47 here. So, across pop culture and a lots of different franchises, there are of course going to be these powerful weapons that people are going to use, and sometimes it's best that these weapons are not given to like the wrong hands, because otherwise they could use it foolishly and everything. So I thought today, for my next 10 or so video, we'd go through a list of weapons that are powerful in pop culture and shouldn't be used foolishly because of how powerful that they are. So I've come up with 10 things, and some of these you all know about already, some you won't know. So let's get to it. So kicking things off, we have the lantern rings. So this is specifically, now those of you that are familiar with DC Comics will know that this is obviously Green Lantern, Yellow Lantern and all that other stuff. Each of the rings are built upon a different kind of emotion or elements, so to speak, but overall you may basically be able to make things based on a person's willpower, a person's fear, a person's anger and hope and the rest of it. But if the ring picks someone in particular, it could be used foolishly. And I know for a fact that the Black Lanterns, and that's not me being racist or anything, there is actually a thing called Black ring, lantern, whatever, are like the sort of ones that basically are brought back from the dead. And yeah, it's definitely a weapon that shouldn't be used foolishly, because you can make all sorts of things with it. And yeah, you'd better, if you've got a good imagination, but it's an imagination that's got a lot of foolish things, just make sure the ring doesn't pick you. So yeah, that's that one. So if you're familiar with Mario Kart, there is of course the spiny blue shell, one of the many power-ups you get in the game. So you're racing around, you're already in first place, you're about to win, and then all of a sudden then comes a blue shell and then it just crashes onto you. And yeah, it's one of those weapons that it's one of those power-ups, I should say, that is used by lots of racers that want to take out the person in first place for reasons. So if you're in first place, do watch out for it. And I know in Mario Kart 8, which is the current iteration of the series, it lets you protect yourself from the blue shell by using a speaker thing. And they also corrected a problem in which often the cart just stops for like at least 5 seconds when it gets hit, but nowadays it's not as long, so that's good. But yeah, blue shell is a weapon that shouldn't be used foolishly, and if you do use it outside of the context of Mario Kart, you could cause lots of destruction with it. So yeah, do be careful with that. So of course I couldn't do a list of powerful weapons without talking about a weapon that was used in the first saga of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Infinity Gauntlet and its stones. So as we all know, the Infinity Gauntlet is a powerful weapon that can take up all 6 Infinity Stones, but only a select few are able to use it because of the gamma radiation that it involves. And as we all know, the Infinity Stones are powerful stones that each sort of can allow you to bend reality to your will and change it. So, for example, in the case of Thanos, he decided to use it to wipe out half of all life in the universe, which Hulk undid by doing the exact same thing about a few years later in universe. And then Iron Man did another thing where he basically wiped out all of Thanos' forces at the cost of his own life. So yeah, it's basically another powerful weapon that shouldn't be used foolishly, especially with some of the stones. You're not able to sort of pick them up or anything because of reasons. But yeah, they're powerful. Do not use it foolishly, and only use it if you're planning to do good for the universe and not bad. So that's that one. So one that's probably not gonna be used as foolishly, but you nevertheless need to be careful with how many times you use it. It's the Holy Hand Grenade. So this obviously came from the Monty Python film The Holy Grail, and with a blessing and everything, you throw it and it explodes, but you can only ever use it once. And it's a weapon that was made popular thanks to Monty Python, but it was also made popular in video game series Worms, in which it can be used to create quite a powerful blast. And it was also used in Ready Player One, albeit without a blessing, which I guess is sort of a writer's choice or whatever, but yeah, it's a powerful weapon, don't use it foolishly, and remember to give it a blessing before you use it, because it is the holy grenade, so yeah. Now, in Middle-earth, there are lots and lots of different weapons that people use, but the one weapon that I feel is probably the one that shouldn't be used foolishly and also is the most powerful, or probably is the most powerful, I don't know for sure, it's the One Ring. Now, the One Ring, as we all know, is the thing that is part of Sauron, the main antagonist of the whole entire Middle-earth thing. And what it does is it lets you be invisible. But when you're invisible, you're not invisible to Sauron, so he's able to find out where you are and everything, and goes into your mind and everything. So you have to really be careful when you use it. Obviously, it did get destroyed eventually in the films, but when you get it, just be careful how often you use it, and don't let Sauron get to you. So yeah, that's that one. Now, in the very last Harry Potter book and films and video games and whatever, there was these 3 items that are collectively known as the Deathly Hallows. So they were given to these three people by death to use, and they ultimately sealed their fates. So the first is the invisibility cloak, which Harry ultimately gets in the very first film and book, and uses it to basically sneak around places and all that. So yeah, that's that one. Then there's the Resurrection Stone, which Harry also gets much later on, hidden inside a snitch, the golden snitch that he caught in his mouth in his first year, which I guess basically lets him speak to the dead in a way. So that's that. And then finally, there's probably the most powerful of the Deathly Hallows, the Elder Wand, which is the most powerful wand in existence, and unlike using any old wand, it's definitely a wand that you should not use foolishly, because it has rules. The rules being that only people that if you knock some person's wand over, then then the wand belongs to you. So, for example, when Draco Malfoy dearmed, I guess that's the word, dearmed Dumbledore, they made the Elder Wand his, which is something that Voldemort was very ignorant about, because in his mind he thought having the wand he could use it however he likes, just like any other wand. But the thing about the Elder Wand is that it can be used by people, but it's otherwise very loyal to the person that is actually the holder of it. As in, if you de-wand someone, then that person becomes the new owner of the Elder Wand. So yeah, that's those. Now, when you talk about powerful weapons in Star Wars, there are a lot. There's quite a few of them, but the one that really tops them all is obviously the Death Star, and as the name implies, is a powerful space station that can house the entire Imperial fleet if they wanted to. Not so much Imperial Star Destroyers, but a lot of Imperials can stay inside it, and what it can do is it can basically destroy an entire planet. Now, after the destruction of the first one, there was obviously a second one that was made, but we didn't actually find out if it was as powerful, or if not more powerful than the first Death Star, because it was destroyed during its construction. But then we did get its kind of successor, the Starkiller base, in the sequel trilogy, if you want to count the sequel trilogy as canon, in which it basically wiped out an entire system of planets. And then a further reiteration of it is an Imperial Star Destroyer that has a Death Star sort of ray capabilities that allows it to destroy planets, basically making the new Star Destroyers capable of being sort of more mobile Death Stars and more faster Death Stars. So yeah, Sidious had big plans, and he would rule the galaxy with an iron fist, not caring about the consequences. So yeah, Death Star, pretty powerful weapon. Don't use it foolishly. So across Kingdom Hearts, we get a lot of different Keyblades, and they make out that certain Keyblades have these certain qualities and everything. But when it comes to finding out how powerful the Keyblades are, there is this one called, well, they call it the Keyblade in game, but because of how it's worded in subtitles, the rest of us call it the X-Blade. And the reason I say that this is quite a powerful weapon in Kingdom Hearts is because of the sacrifices because of the sacrifices needed to actually make it come into existence. So there's a lot of characters that have to be consumed by darkness, or have to be a vessel inside some other vessel, and it also had to be forged through the means of a war between 7 Lights and 13 Darknesses, and all this other stuff. I dare not go into it too much, because as we all know, the Kingdom Hearts timeline and story is very complicated, which given that it's a kind of Disney game, it's kind of shocking. But yeah, the X-Blade, it requires a lot of sacrifices to be made, so yeah, don't use it foolishly, that one. Similarly, in Assassin's Creed, we often hear of this thing called the Piece of Eden, which is basically these sort of very of these items from the ones that came before, and if used foolishly, they can basically allow you to get powers and be able to, pretty much like the Infinity Gauntlet, be able to bend reality to your will. So, for example, in the very first Assassin's Creed game, Al Mulam used it to clone himself and bring his accomplices back to life in an attempt to thwart Altair, which he ultimately defeated him in doing. In the second game, the Cesare Borgia, no, was it Cesare? One of the Borgias used it to try and beat Ezio, but he ultimately succeeded in that. And then ultimately Ezio came across Altair's piece of it and decided, no, enough, I'm burying it. And then much later on, during the American Revolution War, Connor came across it and decided he wanted to, and after seeing an alternate reality in which George Washington becomes king and does all these things, George Washington tells him to just bury it into the sea. And I think we do see it again later on in the series, but I can't remember. Those were like the main times I see it. But yeah, definitely don't use those foolishly, because you don't know what you're doing if you don't know the weapons. So yeah. And the last one I'm going to talk about, although I don't really think this is much of a powerful weapon, but it's nevertheless a weapon that shouldn't be used foolishly. The Neuralizer from Men in Black. So often in the Men in Black films, and I think the comic book series as well, because it's based off a comic book series, believe it or not, there is this thing called the Neuralizer, in which after the agents do all the work that they need to do, they need to use this to sort of wipe the memories of people, because their whole agency is secret. No one really knows about it outside of their organisation. So. And they like to keep it that way, so that's why they then use the Neuralizer to basically wipe the memories of people that see them do work. And if used foolishly, you could end up wiping out the memories of any individual if you don't know how it works. But especially, I guess that's the case with other kinds of things, like the spell used in the Wisdom World, in which Obliviate, in which you can wipe out memories from people with that. So yeah, it's definitely a foolish weapon for sure. So that's 10 weapons from pop culture that shouldn't be used foolishly, especially because of the nature of these weapons. So yeah, don't use them foolishly. If you do ever come across them, just leave them alone and just, yeah. So yeah. Right, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you like to see more of my videos. I upload videos at various times daily in a BST/GMT time zone. So I do gameplay videos, let's play videos, pop culture vlogs like this, and vlogs talking about life and doing hauls as well. And I also do shorts celebrating anniversaries of franchises and films that I like, and birthdays of celebrities that I like, alive or dead. So yeah, if you like all those, please subscribe. And if you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to share with your pals, do so. If you want to leave a comment, do so. I'd love to hear what you think about the weapons I've talked about, and share your own weapon ideas. And yep, see you in the next one. Peace to you all. And as I say, if you ever come across these weapons or basically any kind of weapon from pop culture, don't use it foolishly. And also weapons in real life as well. Don't use them foolishly unless you know full well what you're getting yourself into, especially guns, because we all know some countries do like their guns and do use them foolishly. So yeah, do not use guns unless you know that you're going to use it to protect you and your loved ones and nothing else. So yeah, all right. Toodles.